Welcome to the Knowsys PSAT overview presentation. In the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about the following things. Why the PSAT matters. We'll do an overview of the PSAT, an overview of the PSAT National Merit Program, and then a brief overview of the Knowsys self-study resources that are available. First, let's talk about why the PSAT matters. And my first question is, how much does college cost these days? What's the cost of attending a public university versus a private, or an out-of-state versus an in-state university? You've saved, you've planned ahead to pay for college, but what if you could get a scholarship, a full scholarship or partial, to offset some of those expenses? What could you do with that extra money? Let's take a look at some tuition and fees for these universities. Okay, in this column you can see the 1 year, just a single year out of a 4, 5, or 6 year program for these universities. So anywhere between $8,500 and $40,000 a year. That's a lot of money. Over 4 years, you're talking about somewhere between $33,000 and $150,000. Now, wouldn't a scholarship come in handy? Let's take a look at Baylor. About $30,000 a year, so $120,000 for a 4-year degree. That's a lot of money. The good news is that great scores on the PSAT and the SAT can provide some amazing scholarships. For example, Baylor provides a full tuition scholarship for top scoring students, as does Texas A&M, as does the University of Oklahoma. Plus, they even throw in a cash stipend and a non-resident tuition waiver, so an out-of-state tuition waiver. That's a lot of money. Did you catch what that means? Bottom line, the PSAT is a $100,000 test. It's big, it's important. It's the high-stakes test for top-scoring students. So, why strive for National Merit Scholar? Well, Merit Scholar recognition leads to scholarships and offers of admissions. And the scholarships include things from National Merit itself, as well as from their sponsors, from outside universities, and from private scholarship sources like Coca-Cola or the Ladies Auxiliary, the Women Marine Corps Scholarship, Eastern Star, etc. In other words, there's a lot of money out there for top scoring students. Okay, so now we know why the PSAT is so important. Let's take a look at the PSAT itself. Okay, so the PSAT is a pre-SAT, a preliminary SAT, and students take it in October of their junior year. Some students also take it their sophomore year, their freshman year, but the only year that you can take it as part of the National Merit Scholarship Test is your junior year. That's the only year it counts. Any other time you take it, it is a practice test. Now, it's important to know that the PSAT is not used for college admissions. It is used to give your student a feel for his or her potential on the exam, on the SAT exam, and an opportunity to qualify for national merit. That's all it is. It's a practice test, and it's the national merit test. The PSAT, like the SAT, tests 3 major areas. The first is math, and the math that's tested is arithmetic or pre-algebra, Algebra 1, geometry, Algebra 2, data analysis, and trig. The second area that's tested is critical reading, which is reading comprehension and vocabulary. The third area that's tested is writing, which includes grammar concepts like subject-verb agreement, pronoun-antecedent agreement, sentence structure, modifiers, parallelism, comparison, and style. Some of those terms make you think, oops, forgot those. A review is definitely in order. This is not going to go away. It's tested on the PSAT, the SAT, and the ACT. So what's missing from the writing section? What's not tested? If you said writing itself, you're right. There is no essay on the PSAT. There is an essay on the SAT and the ACT. So the PSAT is a standardized college entrance exam. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long, so it's shorter than either the SAT, which is 3 hours and 50 minutes, or the ACT, which is 3 hours and 35 minutes. If you look at the chart down below, the topic, the math versus verbal, all right, and then the number of questions. You've got 48 math questions. which gives you a score range of 160 to 760. So your maximum math score is a 760, not an 800, and a selection index of 1 to 38. Verbal is made up of the critical reading and the writing, and there are 91 total questions, 47 in critical reading, 44 in writing, which is that multiple choice grammar piece. Your score range is again 160 to 760 on that combined verbal portion. And the selection index you get separately. Critical reading 1 to 38 and then writing 1 to 38. Okay, so now let's take a look at the National Merit Program itself. What is it and what does it require to qualify? First off, all juniors who sign up for the PSAT are automatically registered for the National Merit Scholar Program competition. So that's 1.4 million students. You don't have to sign up separately. As long as you sign up for the PSAT and you're a junior, you're signed up. Now, only the top 3.6% of all test takers are recognized as high scorers. So 3.6%, that's the top 50,000 students who take the test as juniors each year. There are two cutoff scores in terms of recognition, and they're both based on the selection index. So not in terms of your score, but in terms of your index. Commended is the lowest level, and that is a 209 out of 228. That is the top 2.4% of students. So 36,000 students out of that top 50,000 we talked about. And then in Texas, for semifinalists, finalists, and merit scholars, the next tiers, it is a 220 for this year. So that is the top 1.2% of all students taking this exam in the U.S. That's about 16,000 students total. The selection index is based on the test scores for each of those three tests, math, critical reading, and writing. Each one has a test score of 1 to 38. And from that, you add it up, you double it, and that gives you the selection index. The maximum selection index on the PSAT is at 228. So Texas, for semifinalists and above, you need a 220 out of a 228. So here's how the competition works. Right, from semifinalists, there's 16,000 semifinalists across the U.S. And those are then invited. They get a letter saying, congratulations, you're a semifinalist. Here's what you have to do to proceed. To move from being one of the 16,000 semifinalists to one of the 15,000 finalists, here are the horrible things a person has to go through. 1, they have to complete an application and an essay. And 2, they have to get endorsed by their high school principal. I know, it's rough, isn't it? Okay. But every year, about 1,000 students fail to do those two simple things. And that's the difference between the 16,000 semifinalists and the 15,000 finalists, is those who submitted their application. Because every high school principal is thrilled to endorse students who are semifinalists moving into finalists. Those students who turn in their application, their essay, their endorsement, automatically move from being a semifinalist to a finalist. So what's the difference? 1,000 students who were semifinalists didn't bother to submit their application. Once those 15,000 finalists turn in their scholarship application with their endorsement, they're now entered into a scholarship competition. So somebody, some committee, will read through those applications, the endorsements, the essays, everything else as part of the package, and select from those 15,000 students the ones who will move from finalist to actual National Merit Scholar. 8,200 of those 15,000 finalists who submitted their application will ultimately be awarded Merit Scholar status, the top tier of achievement and recognition in the National Merit Competition. And that's how the competition works. So we've talked about why the PSAT matters, what it is, what the National Merit Program is. Now let's take a couple of seconds to do a quick review of the self-study resources that are available from Knowsys that'll help you achieve your maximum score. Okay, the first self-study aid I'd recommend is Navigating the SAT. This is a complete SAT, PSAT self-study guide produced by Knowsys. It covers math, critical reading, and writing, plus the essay. So it does all of the grammar rules, all of the math rules. It tells you what math you need to know and memorize. It gives you a strategy for reading comp. So what it does is take the stuff that Knowsys has been teaching in our SAT prep classes and our private tutoring for years and puts it into a format for self-study. It's available in two formats: printed book via Amazon and an ebook that's available on the Kindle. Second thing I'd recommend is our math practice books. These are focused on SAT, ACT, PSAT questions. And there are two levels: basic math and advanced math. So depending on where you are, you may want to start with basic math and move to advanced, or just focus on advanced. They're flip books. They are available at Amazon. Third thing down here on the list is SAT and PSAT vocabulary flashcards. But before we talk about those, I want to talk about how vocabulary is tested on the exam. Okay, take a look at the words in green across the top of the page. Equivocal, mercurial, capricious, loquacious, disparage. Do you know those words? Do you use them in your writing? Those are SAT, PSAT level words. And what we recommend is that you start building your vocabulary now, wherever you are, whatever grade level you're in. You want to work on vocabulary because the passages on the SAT, the PSAT, and the ACT are dense. They're college level reading with tough vocabulary. And if you don't have vocabulary skills, if your vocabulary dictionary isn't large, then you will struggle on the exam reading the questions and reading the passage. So it's going to slow you down, and you want to be as prepared as possible. So there are questions that test vocabulary directly. They're no longer sentence completion questions, but there are ones that say, in line 15, the word whatever most nearly means. So vocabulary questions, but even more importantly is for comprehension of the passage, you need to know the vocabulary that's used. Improving your vocabulary is going to pay off on reading, on writing, the SAT essay, all of your high school and college level reading. Like this is a skill set that's important all the way around, and nothing you can do on vocabulary will be wasted time or effort. The resources that Knowsys has available to help you prepare your vocabulary are two sets. We have a SAT set and a PSAT set. The SAT is actually like the first level, level 1. PSAT is level 2, the next level of vocabulary. So if you're looking to really maximize your PSAT score, you want to make sure you know both levels, the SAT first and then the PSAT, which is the harder, more complex words that we see on the exam. Both of those are available in two formats. They are an app available at iTunes and Google Play, and there's a physical box of flashcards like in the image that is available at Amazon. The last resource I'm going to recommend is our homophones and frequently confused words box set. This is a category that's being tested on SAT, PSAT, and ACT, and it includes things like the examples: accept and accept, access and excess, affect and effect, allude and allude, amount versus number, ambiguous versus ambivalent, less versus fewer, discrete versus discrete, complement versus complement. So you can see why those words are confusing and frequently missed, but they're also frequently tested. So it's a really good way to strengthen your vocabulary, your English understanding. It'll obviously pay off in the exam as well as in your own writing and communication. Right now it's only available in one format. It is a box set available at Amazon. Okay, so that wraps up our PSAT overview. I've put 3 links here, so if you want some additional information on the exams themselves, I would recommend going to collegeboard.org. If you want additional information on National Merit Contest, go to nationalmerit.org. If you'd like more information about Knowsys and our products and services, please go to www.myknowsys.com. Thank you and good luck on the exam.